you're right. Welcome back to health. Today we're going to talk about social networking and the importance of being connected. And especially during this lockdown, we all know that's been a challenge. And we all know how important it is to feel connection with our friends and our family. We're going to focus quite a bit on friends today. So, if we're in a classroom, we'd be doing this, but have a little think while I chat. Why are friends so important? So have a think about the positive influence that friendships have on our lives, especially as adolescents. There's, all sorts of reasons why we need friends and we need to connect. Even in the Bible, we know that God talks about relationships and having friendships and having a connection. And I guess, our ultimate example is that he wants a relationship with us and a close relationship in that being, there to support us and to be our friend and just to be that extra person that we need, because we all need someone to journey life with. So they offer a sense of belonging. And I guess there's a few things to think about when it comes to friendships is having friends and also how to be a friend. So they help us with a sense of belonging and the feeling of being valued by others. It's so important for our mental health. A space to share and discuss common changes that are occurring in our lives, feelings, thoughts, all sorts of things that are going on in your lives as teenagers and adolescents. A space to experiment with new values and roles and identities. So that space of thinking about, what you actually really believe. Like up until now, you've, I guess, had that foundation with your family that, this is our beliefs on all sorts of things like politics and religion, and it might be family values, what's important in life as far as work and striving for, whether it's popularity or I guess we're thinking even about success in life. And you may find you might be having thoughts about, well, I'm not sure that I agree with all of these things that I've been brought up with. You might, but you might be talking to other friends and they have different values and different ideas, and their family may be different and their roles within the family may be different. So that's when you start to see differences and think, I need to make up my own opinions on these things too. Obviously in a respectful way with your family. And so it's just known that teens who have strong friendships are usually more confident, more actively involved in their school, and more sensitive to others' thoughts and feelings. But we all know that making friends sometimes can be really difficult for certain people. My son was having this conversation with me this morning. He's 11 in grade 5 and he moved schools halfway through the year. And so with lockdown, he hasn't had much time actually with his proper class yet. So he is pretty anxious with everyone going back to school and classes, and he's kind of just saying, I don't really have many friends, I've only got 2. And I was saying to him when I was growing up that I only ever really had one good friend. And I said, that's all you really need is one person that you can connect with. Obviously it's lovely to have a group of people, but you just need that one person who's got your back and that you can confide in, and they're going to be there and they're going to be with you and they're going to stick with you. They're going to support you. So yeah, we'll keep talking a bit about this as we go on. Characteristics of teenage friendships. Sometimes they're intense and supportive and very close. Sometimes they're just, superficial and it might be your friends because you all play soccer together, or you might be in a youth group together. So sometimes they're based on similar behaviors or beliefs. Close groups are usually of the same gender. Not always, but as a general rule, you need the need for frequent communication or contact. And, nowadays we do things very differently to like when I was a teenager. So when I was a teenager, we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't have the internet. We basically saw each other at school or each other's houses or at church or youth group, or you can use a phone that was attached to the wall. So there wasn't a lot of privacy in having conversations. All the family could hear what we were talking about. Girls often develop closeness through conversation, and boys often develop that through activities, so doing things together. So, obviously, and that changes according to, like who you are as a person and what kind of things you enjoy doing. But they're just, general observations. So, toxic friends or frenemies, maybe rivals or pretend to be your friends. They boost their own ego at your expense. They're unsupportive of your happiness, so they get jealous if you might get an award for something. So instead of supporting you and saying, that's amazing, they'll actually feel jealous of you, and they might gossip and judge you. So these are not true friends. So the friendships have a negative effect on your adolescent health and well-being. And adolescents' fear of social rejection often makes these friendships difficult to end. So these are the kind of ones that you'll see in movies. And, that stereotypical kind of person who's unkind and talks behind their back and maybe pretends, to be their friend for a bit, but then it all just turns really difficult. Obviously, these are kind of friendships we want to avoid. But part of, I guess, learning about what makes a good friend is learning how to be a good friend, and that, we need to think about these qualities that we want in a person. And I guess you have to be that as well. So to be loyal and to be trustworthy and to have integrity, to be kind and to be thoughtful of other people's feelings, to show empathy and understanding. And important to be that friend, not for your own gain, but because you enjoy being with another person. So obviously now we have this whole new style of friendships and social networking because we have social media and we have access to devices. So mobile phones are really common for accessing this. Most frequent activities performed include updating your profiles, posting messages, photos or videos, commenting on other people's posts. That you need to be really careful of and to be very respectful when you're doing this. Instant messaging, so it's just constant adding and commenting, or blogging and microblogging. Obviously in your age group, most people would use social networks daily, and especially as you get into those year 8, year 9, year 10, year 11, 12 groups. So does belonging to social networks have positive and negative effects on adolescent mental health? Obviously, there's always going to be a positive and negative on everything. So we might talk about this when we're back on site a little bit as well. So positives, negatives, we can think about that. And then, what kind of conclusions do you make from that? Is there more positives than negatives? Or I would imagine at the moment it's actually been such a blessing to have access to forums like this, so you can still stay connected with your friends, because we haven't been able to be on site and we haven't been able to catch up with people regularly and do the things that we normally would. So increases social connectedness, promotes more regular contact with others. It's convenient. You don't have to leave your house. It helps to overcome shyness. So some people who, find it really hard to interact in a group setting would find it a bit easier in this kind of setting, because you can kind of still hide a bit in a way, I suppose. Can help build social skills, promotes interaction with different age groups as well. So the negatives, obviously bullying is a big one. So that's something, we all need to be careful of and cautious of. People can have access to your personal details. There can be harassment and abusive messages and inappropriate things. So we do need to be really careful. And the whole idea of being connected 24/7 is something that you need to be really cautious of, and just put your phone away. Never have it in your bedroom while you're trying to sleep, because, it's really tempting to just check, I'll just see who that is, and I'll just see who that is. And then all of a sudden you've had about 4 hours sleep. So putting good boundaries around it is something that's really important to think about. So Would you agree or disagree with this quote? 49% of all teens surveyed say their favourite way to communicate with their friends is in person. Now, I got you all to fill in this online technology thing, and I would have said that at least 85, maybe 90% said that you'd rather socialise in person. And that might be partly characteristic of lockdown, and that we haven't even had that opportunity so much. So something we can think about a little bit. Okay, so electronic communication has expanded adolescent social networks significantly. And it's common for adolescents to have, lots of friends listed on their online profiles, whether they're not the types of friendships that I'm talking about. Like, they're not the ones that you're going to be really close with and, your best friends forever kind of thing. However, not all friends are part of adolescents' offline lives, which we know about. But it is one way to socialize and connect and to learn about different things. So, like, social networking sites allow adolescents to construct and build their own brand image too. This is, something that I never even had to think about or deal with as a teen. So does the approval-seeking and judgmental nature of some social networking sites encourage individualism or conformity in adolescence? It's something that you need to think about. Like, do you have to act a certain way in order to be liked on social media? Do you have to dress a certain way? Or, do you always have to be a certain type of person to be seen to be okay and good enough? I just like posing questions. We'd have some great discussions if we were in class together, but we can do that when we return on site. So I have put a sheet there for you let me just get it for you. Whoops, not that one. I can't see this one, this friendship one. So here, like, you've got yourself there, then you've got face-to-face friends, which, will be your friends that you hang out with, and then you've got your online friends, and then I've posed some questions here for you. So you can work your way through this. Things like, which group of friends do you communicate with most regularly? And who do you communicate with most deeply? Like, you might have friends that you talk to a lot, but then you might only have one or two people that you actually share your heart and soul with. So, and then talk about what kind of ways you like to communicate. And that'll be different for different groups as well. So have a go, and I'll look forward to reading what you've come up with. Wonderful. See you later.